Keep everybody tagged. A minute to get here. Just in case there's another Warren Fintress, the only person out of 100 shows, 1,000 broadcasts that actually said, hurry up. Well, the first few seconds, like I said, are for people to come in. Like, there we go. There's Sheikh Lai Ming. That's somebody new. We got Isaac Z. We've literally had 100 new memberships in the last hour and friend request. It usually goes, they friend request me, and there's Kristen Schultz. God bless you. She's helped me lately. And we've got a new one, Rebecca Ryan. I knew she was going to be there. And it looks like, hopefully, I will have on the superstar, have on Kathleen Fitzgerald. Hi, Rebecca. Because, that's what we're doing, and I'm talking to Jim Penniston, too, from the Rendlesham Forest event. And, let's see. Hey, the King's in here. King Blake, Darla Simmons. Yeah, I made a list of all the new people, but I was like, wow, this is getting really extensive. I was like, as I added, there's more and more and more. And like Armando Garcia, we've had so many people who have just dove in head first. And we got Fode. Jojo, what's up, bud? Kimberly, Deanna, DeHaven, Armando Garcia, Sarka. We got Dennis from Russia. Hey, there's Lauren Pritchard. Hey, I got my hair up. Hey, is this too bunny? Yeah, actually I need to turn my screen around so I can see. Yeah, last time I had someone who was really rude. Yeah, there's my man bun. It's a little hot down here in Louisiana, so if you have it on your face, it's stuck to you. But I'm inside where it's cool now. But we have a new show coming up on Global Enlightenment Radio Network. That's Dr. J. Andy Elias. What's up, JoJo? Back in. Dr. J. Andy Elias from the old network, and Gary Legier, the Mad Martian, the Martian Revelation show. I've done that 3 times. He's going to be on the network. Then Daryl, which is Odin, my producer, and Katie, my other producer. I call them my Odin and Freya. And, which kind of makes sense with this stuff I've got up to. It's weird, all the little synchronicities that happen. Every time I look at my phone, it's 2:22. Think crazy things like that this week. I'm like, I don't know when I should start it, but just so much has been going on. But now I've got back to writing. But once you look underground and you see that we don't even know 95% of what's on Earth and what's underwater, like Lake Vaca in Russia, the deepest lake in the world, even deeper than the locks in Scotland. Now we're starting to get all these government disclosures that are telling us that they sent divers down, and some of the divers came back and some didn't, but while they were under the ice, they met with other creatures with some type of respiration or protection on or something. If you want to look up that information, his name's Paul Stonehill. He's from Russia, and it's information we've never seen on this side of the planet. But that's what's great about the Research Society. We're global. But now all the watchers, and like there's Kevin Cummings, speaking of watchers, and but Kathleen, she's riding in her truck every morning. I'm drinking coffee, listening to her, and then I started doing it here, and I've noticed that ever since the China Lake thing, the clouds, all of it's like the chemtrail stuff was tic-tac-toe it looked like Mahjong tiles in the sky. I mean, it was just crazier than any of that. And I've been flying since I was a little kid. I think the first time I flew a plane myself, I was probably 11 or 12 years old. But, I don't know if it made a difference there. I doubt it. But it just seems a coincidence that when there's an earthquake that's only 2 laps around the track, zero point 0.6 miles deep, and the aftershocks go up 10 times, they usually are echoes. It's like breaking something and you have little after cracks as you break through it, like if you snapped a bat or a 2x4 in half. So you're not going to get increasing to where it's like 7.4 on the 10th one or 7.2 or whatever it was, especially at 0.6 miles deep. That's like snapping a toothpick with the power of snapping a redwood, and that's very anomalous. But Ridgecrest is just like Bossier City is here, where I was in DARPA Town. You can still see the chemical burns, and that was from months ago. And it's taking me getting that off for so long. That's chloride burn that's coming through the drinking water that we were drinking tea and making our food with and everything else. And I couldn't get through to people. I'm like, I hear people talking, they're like, Aaron Brockovich was talking about Shreveport. There's Don Spears, hey. But I tried to get people to understand, you do not want Aaron Brockovich talking about the city that you live in. If Aaron Brockovich is talking about the city that you live in, it's probably not a very good thing. It's probably too late for you, So I actually got out of town. We've got a farm outside, no Monsanto food, no Roundup weed killer. Who's it saying hi to me? See, I love the interactivity. That's Kevin Cummings. That's our brother. See, check it out, Kevin. Irish Pride, baby. He's over in Ireland right now. Hey, and there's Cheryl Young. I've been talking to her a lot this week. And listen, if you want to be part of the newscast, read a story, I've got a pile of stuff. So, I'm using the same algorithm that made the TV so successful, using these spots during the week like me and Kathleen and I do, sorry, Gary. I love it. He corrected me, but he's right. But, I mean, we've got people that have been sending us mics, cameras, Jamie McReynolds, thank you. And things are really going this direction. Even on Fox News, they said now people are looking to independent research and independent sources and independent research where they can actually see the data and get the answer for the question themselves rather than watch TV and I can't believe she actually told the truth, which is just two sides of the same story. Fox News is one side, and CNN, MSNBC, and MSNBS. Nobody watches it anyway. All 11 people are in like Idaho or something. And but yeah, I thought you'd like this, Kevin. I found this. I was like digging through my storage and I found it. My friend Brandy gave it to me years ago and I was like, damn, I can't believe I found it. Let's see who else in here. Jojo Melton. Me and Jojo grew up and people used to mistake me and him for each other all the time. It was usually people mistaking me for him, and it was like, yeah, I've had to like do some things that wouldn't be in my nature right now. Now I would just go, move please, but back then it was like, it was the Wild West down here. Hey, there's Shelly Lindsay Ferguson, and yeah, there's Kevin Bonita. What's up, beautiful? If you don't know, Bonita means bonita in Spanish, means beautiful. And let's see who else we got on here. People are coming in and out. We got Lauren Pritchard on here, Shelly, Rebecca Ryan, and Kristen Schultz. And more will come in. And Yeah, I had some guy, like, I didn't even realize until it was over, was screaming, like, why don't you spit it out? It's been like 10 minutes, which that was the video where I was standing outside by the farm, just the last video, just letting people, I said, letting people drizzle in. But we're going to start putting the news, like, at the beginning and throughout, like, you know, how I have the conversations with Jeffrey Boyd. Well, I'm going to put that after the news, kind of like when we were kids. Your parents come in and you don't mess with them until they watch like they get home earlier on Fridays or whatever, and they sit down and they watch the 6 o'clock news, and that's all there is to it. I'm using the same algorithm as they are, and we'll get there. You know, now people are tuning out of TV and tuning in to us, and now they can look not just the same data. They can use the same exact tools, and I'll help you. If you even want to look at things, we've got everything from the high rise is not all we have. People think that's cool, but we've got the Mars rover with the Curiosity. The other one's gone, Opportunity, and there's so many rovers. Chino, ¿qué pasó ese? Let's see. Let's see. Yeah, we got Chino from Brooklyn. And a todo madres, mi mano. Let's see. And if you translate that, it doesn't make any sense unless you speak conversational Spanish. He knows what it means. Es con madres, chicon. But if you want to do a, you know, some of the parts of the news, like I'm definitely bogged down with stuff. But Josh Bruton, we've got our own professional photographer. We did a sky watch from here, a night watch where he took his camera out there. We have the same equipment that the best of the best have, the best networks out there. We have the same exact stuff. When it comes out, we have it. But we did a night watch where we put it out there by my crops, and we open the lens and let it view the sky all night long. Well, the stars are a smear, and they'll be about that long, and you see at every black spot in between it, you can look at it, and there's more of that same field, and then between those two, there's more and more and more, just like the telescopes. But there are these red and blue dots, and what those are, and they were still, and remember the lens to the camera was open, so if something were to move by fast, it would make a very long line because the stars were making real small lines. We had red and blue dots which show the front, what's the front and what's the back of a rover of not of ours. We have one. Josh has a quad rotor drone, but we had drones sitting right over our head and couldn't see them. And when he did the photos, opened the lens and got the night watch done, went and looked back, and they were like sitting above our head the whole time. And I'm like, how many nights have they been here? Because that's one of the reasons why I got out of DARPA town. But if you're over my property, I don't own any guns or anything, but it wouldn't surprise me if one got shot out of the air over people's houses around here. The Freedom Act and the Patriot Act, it's all BS. Do not wave a flag if there's missiles taking off. Like, I'm so glad Hillary didn't get to start a war, because that's not patriotic. Because just like we're society, we are in 120 nations and we're only 2.8 thousand people, less than 3,000 people, and we've never had an argument. There's no wars, there's no cartels, there's no any of that. And the problem is we've had politicians. We're supposed to be run by we, the people. That was the whole point. It was supposed to be citizens. It's supposed to be us. Government by the people, for the people. But instead, we have lifetime politicians. And all of you have seen the thing that I put up that said, and remember, William Casey's the head of the CIA, and the Operation Mockingbird is a CIA operation. And he says, you will know when our programming, which is TV, radio, and that extension to social media, is working when everything that the public believes is untrue, like flat earth, like all this other junk they throw out there to muddy the waters. But I assure you, you can drive right here to where I'm at and look over to, I won't say which direction, but you have an 8-mile radius around you on the earth. But when you see a dome of lights a couple miles away that we're outside of so we can shoot the sky, that dome can only be unseen if it's on the other side of, if it's 8 miles past where we are now. It's very easy to see. And but yeah, we're out from underneath the dome of lights. But the things that you see fly overhead now are crazy. Now we're seeing less chemtrail action during the day and more stuff, more anomalous type stuff at night. And but the Mars conference is canceled this year in New Mexico, which I was already getting ready, which I think I might go down to Mexico. I even sharpened this up. I had too many swings the other day. But we're going to go, Colorado is where the next Mars Anomaly Research Society will be. And there's a few other ones coming up. I'm reading your messages as I go along. Keep it interactive as possible. Yeah. Okay, I'm making sure that everybody's here. But, if you want something to do with the news that's coming up, and if you go look, just, if people have a question, and I'm not on, just try to help the new members, because I'll go up there and boost the post, but people don't realize the things that we have. We have the CIA CREST database entry point on the wall. We have every telescope from Hubble to from Solar Probe A and B and Parker and Helio Viewer, but I think they're using a screen on SOHO and SDO right now. But since China Lake, bees drop for 100 miles around there. Down to Riverside, California, there's a field of 1 million bees that are just convulsing out in the middle of a field, and there just seems to be something going on behind the scenes that isn't being told to us, because the Navy, there's your disclosure. Anyone else who says disclosure, that's their moneymaker, don't pay them any attention. It's just like people who are still trying to do this pyramid thing and be like, okay, I found the secret. They used these pulleys and the Nile used to be over there. I'm like, wait, what'd you do? Put a stone on it and wait for it to meander all the way back over to the pyramid and back? It doesn't make any sense. The pyramids are not made of limestone. They were not quarried. And no one would pour concrete 400 miles away from a pyramid. Period. There's no debating it. If you think you can debate it, or somebody out there who watches it, just look at the chemistry of it. And what do? They sweep it under the rug. Like you guys have seen Norsen Tepe. That got swept under the rug in 1963. Whenever Göbekli Tepe got found, it forced them to double the timeline. We're correct. What you're saying is woo-woo, it's BS, it's pseudoscience, it's the fringe. No, it's the cutting edge, because they were wrong. But we're not 6,000 years old, that's a blink. We're not 12,000. 99% of what the artifacts I found are so much older than that. And when you've got, I've got everything from diamonds to different types of jewels that are set down inside of artifacts that are in the hundreds of thousands of years old. And on Grandma in Siberia and Kazakhstan and Caucasus, it drops a piece of andesite, which is coal, and there's a gold chain inside of it. Gold is an element, so when they dropped it, it's not going to oxidize or rust. It's going to stay in its current position. And so, without saying anything about it, they said, how long does it take for a lump of coal to form? Because what happened is somebody dropped a chain in a piece of mud, and eventually stuff gets on top of it and it piles up, and now you have sedimentary rock. And as that pressure gets higher, now you have metamorphic rock. As it melts together and turns into one thing. That's how I can tell the difference between manufactured stone and earthstone. Earthstone has layers and stria, and like the way marble looks, it has these patterns, just random patterns across it, or lines like a tree. But yeah, we've got so much going on. But now we're on Global Enlightenment Radio Network, GERN. And if you want to see, go to globalenlightenmentradionetwork.com/shows. Right now I'm trying to nail down a time with Daryl Oden, and we're trying to figure that out. But what we're going to start doing is, I'm hoping we can do it on the weekend, and then maybe during the week have like a news thing recorded I can do every day or every other day, and then when he gets a chance, drop it in there before the show, so it will be current news all the time. So I'm trying to work that out, because that's the same formula they do. You know, you hear more later at 5 or whatever, and it's what works. But it just doesn't, like everything else, it doesn't cost us $1 trillion, you know, or a bag of $1 trillion hammers. And we can get things done. And now I'm working on trying to get us some grant money. But hopefully, I'm trying to talk to Jim Peniston that was in the Rendlesham Forest event, and that'll be a cool on the conversation show. But I want to put the news at the beginning of it, so people will know that every week at that time the news is going to come on. And if they're listening to Gary's show or whoever else during commercial breaks or between shows, there'll be a little 60-minute, you can get a lot of information in 60 seconds, little news drops in between. So you know, that keeps people on the network. But people are seeking it, but right now there is definitely a demand for truth and a very low supply, to the point that TV's even talking about it now. But they kind of laugh in our faces about it. They're like, you know, now people look at the internet, but still they're only looking at what we put up there. It doesn't do any good if you get online and you go to CNN.com. Hey, there's Chad Johnson. I've known Chad forever. We went to high school together. If that's the same Chad, the picture's so small. Yeah, I've got like a few of my devices. I've got computers. This is my new bat cave. I'm getting it assembled right now. But yeah, Josh was over here, and it's wall to wall electronics, literally. But it'll be cool once it gets all set up. But I had a lot to recover from coming from DARPA town, and as you can see, I still am. And I want to thank y'all for helping Kristen and Clyde. Clyde even picked me up. It's like, hey, can you give me a ride? It's 1,000 miles. On the dot from my front doorstep was 1,000 miles, 0.01 miles. And I couldn't believe it. I was like, it's actually 1,100th of a mile to the door, you know, so on the dot was 1,000 miles from my doorstep in Houghton to the Silver City Hotel, or the Murray Hotel in Silver City, New Mexico, which is southwest New Mexico, down by Las Cruces and all that. in the Gila National Forest. But it was a very Great Gatsby kind of place, but I didn't want to leave. But yeah, if you're interested in helping with the news and even collaboration on the book, because I tend to write like a robot or like a textbook. And so I had somebody before who was more the poetic type. And so I'm open to collaborations. I'm one of them people that if it comes in my path, it's supposed to be, unless it's an obstacle. And so if you want help with the news or co-host on the conversation show or do something on GRN or any of that, or with the society, if you want to be a mod, I definitely need some help. I have to sign on at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I don't want people to submit a post and then 13 hours later the post gets done, because then it's kind of pointless. But so I kind of have to always keep up with it. But we've got people in so many time zones. If somebody can, if anybody wants to be a moderator, just just let me know. And a little while back, I had someone trying to take take the society away and shut it down. It's like my YouTube channel. If you go look at it, I've been a guest on, I've probably been on like 60 shows or 50 shows, somewhere in there, but some of them I've been on 2 or 3 times, and I can't find but like 30 something shows, and every day that I look, there's another one missing, which I guess that it's vetting, so I just got to put one in its place. But now I'm talking to some of the big people out there, so I guess we're doing the right things, because now people are wanting to come on and talk to us, but we are the center of the wheel. Most of the people in the Research Society, it's a little tricky, the numbers are, because it says 2,800, and you go in groups like Ancient Aliens or Namaste or something, and there's 190,000 people. Well, that's just because we have 2,800 people, and you have like Evan Strong, he's down in Australia, or Ildi Bowdy, and she's from Australia but over in Egypt, and we have Klaus Donna over in Austria, and some of our other Austrian friends, I thought. But everybody is an administrator of their own group or their own show, and we're not in competition with anybody's show. I promote everyone. And so they now we're kind of doing the same, and it's just like we're the center of the wheel, because I've already been on the university side, and it's ego driven, and it's very self driven. It all is. I mean, down to the classroom part of it, even the teachers, it goes all the way up. No matter what level you're on, it's the same game all the way up. And you have people at the top who are rigging each other to fail, and or stealing each other's research and things like that. But if we all share all of the puzzle pieces we have with each other, and that person shares with you, and you share with another person, now all 3 of those people, if you're trying to build the same puzzle, all 3 people are all armed with all of the pieces of the other, and that makes a wheel, and we're each like a spoke. Each one of us are just as important, and now we're really starting to get somewhere. Square wheels don't move too well, and egos get in the way, and I just believe in just not having one, or just if you have one, then enough of a personality for someone to call it out, then it's a problem. I have a problem of saying or putting people first until it hurts. But we've got a lot of stuff coming up, and I can't even list all the people. I mean, we have people from Russia, Germany, Austria, Canada, you name it. There's been, I had a list I was gonna name, but there were so many just in the last hour, and I'm talking about like 100. I would imagine it's around 85. But I'm trying to do the live thing. You saw where I put the live watch party up there, but I could never get it started because I'm adding names. But we're there. And now I just got to talk to Daryl, and I'd like you guys' input. Politics is full of smoke screens. I call it political sleight of hand. That's all it is. And that's why this is the first time we've ever had a citizen as a president. And that whole thing's almost over. And we haven't had any wars, so we haven't been very successful. But I think 4,000 degrees, I've been around that in metallurgy, and that's climate change. We don't want any nuclear war with anybody, and we shouldn't have armed Iran. They've promised to destroy us and Israel and everyone around them, and that's just the elite playing their little chess game. But we're the one who suffer. And like I was talking to Odin before the feed. You know the song BYOB by System of a Down. It says, why do presidents start the wars? Why do they always send the poor? Why don't the presidents fight the wars? And I think that's pretty profound. I think if they were like back in the day, in the night days, if those stories are true, I'm sure they were surrounded and had people softened up before they came riding in. But I don't think they would start so many wars, or I don't think they'd be killing so many people if they actually had to fly the drone, or if they had to carry the gun. It's a totally different thing. And I'm glad we've switched the drone thing off. That was getting completely out of hand. But now, Josh Britton, he's got the pictures of it. I couldn't believe him sitting there looking at the pictures. And against the star field, we're talking about billions upon trillions of stars that are moving. And these blue and red dots are in the field of view in a lens that never closed, and those dots never smeared any. That means that it's sitting there stable in air. That's creepy. And I'm like, what are they watching out here? Which means they probably have thermal and infrared and all the things like that, or the same things I'm using, LiDAR, muon radiography, or they can't use muon radiography, but radiography and X-ray and all that. But we've got, for a long time, the Bill of Rights hasn't applied to us and the laws haven't applied to them. And I couldn't believe when I believed it, but I couldn't believe it, that it's actually you can't be convicted of a felony if you are in the presidency or you are in a place of power. And I'm like, then why aren't we talking about any of this stuff? If felonies are legal, then they're not illegal. No laws have been broken. And it's just a bunch of silly stuff. It's like, you get tired of hearing about it after a while. Especially with the biggest discoveries in history being made, and you've got people paying attention to that, and you've got just some nobody guy that's living out in Stonewall, Louisiana, that's finding entire continents. Now, isn't that what Columbus supposedly did? Columbus supposedly found North America, and well, I've already found other continents. And in freshwater oceans, things like that. And we're talking about other spatial dimensions also, not with that. That's below the surface. It's not just aquifers down there, but freshwater rivers. It looks more like our circulatory system, and these acid pools like at Yellowstone, it looks more like endorphins and enzymes, and the earth looks more like a living being underground. What we were taught in school, skin of an apple, everything inside is the mantle till you get down to the core, and then it's nickel and lead. It's a perfect little ball. No, I think more like cliff highs, right? There's no such thing as subduction zones, and the earth is 60% bigger than it used to be because it has the only thing that could really be in the center like that would be like a crystallized iron, and that would be something that could catch plasma and expand. And that's what you call, if you want to research it, it's a open system universe or closed system. And oh, I didn't roll down. Steve Mons, hey, what's up? I've known Steve my whole life. He's now he's back down here. He was in Minnesota. Debbie Munnings. I'm Armando. Hey, I was talking about you earlier. Jason Hanna's on. Donna Ruiz. We're getting everybody on here. Yeah, I was adding everybody. I was gonna try to like give everybody a little notification because somebody said something last time, that Warren Finter's guy or something, and oh, why don't you just spit it out? I was like, well, I'm just actually showing people my crops while I'm letting people gather in, because not everyone is sitting home in their mom's basement with their computer right in front of them waiting for the show to start. Some of us have to drive cars and park it and go inside or do stuff, and so I always try to put like a little slideshow or something, which my computer was acting up. But it's cool. We're starting to like get our own material and all that, but I'm gonna start organizing some trips, some tours back down to Mexico, and I want to go back down to near the Tulum and the Belize area. There's some stuff down there that just, there's only one thing it can be, and it's not natural, and it's just it's there to be looked at. But between Louisiana to Alabama, where the mounds of the giants are, but that's why I was also trying to get that. Hey, what's up, Barry? And Brent, there's Brent Hand. Thanks, brother. But we're trying to get I'm going to put a trip together to Poverty Point for whoever wants to see that. Anytime you want to come down, that's a 90-minute drive. It's an hour and a half from where I'm at, so it's no big deal. But Mexico, nobody knows Mexico like I do. JoJo can tell you that. I've been going since I was 16, and every little nook and cranny of that place, and yeah, I love it. I'll live down there eventually. It's not what people say. All the murders you hear about and everything, it didn't cause from now. It's caused because when you open a border and say anyone can come across, that really made Mexico mad because their southern border got flooded with hundreds of thousands of people. But when you make it to where you can't stop anybody, risk versus reward, it's risk management. Are you going to send, 40 pounds of methamphetamines across in a tire with your life savings? Or are you just going to be a dentist? Because you're already doing okay. If you get caught, you're screwed. If you don't get caught, you're rich. Well, once there's no risk, every dentist, every lawyer, every teacher, everyone's in the business, and there's no reason not to be. And the Mexican people do not want them here, and they're actually telling their government to put more than 21,000 troops at the southern border. And believe me, the United States in the last 8 years, if you really want to know from somebody who's been down there, the United States has caught drugs, our drugs, and our politicians allowing it to come, has caused a Holocaust in Ciudad Juarez and Reynosa. I can list town after town where there are people. Most of the people in this society and most of us that are online right now that I see are about, as a matter of fact, JoJo's my same age. I think Rebecca, I think we're all about, Shelly, we're all about the same age. There's whole areas along the border where there's no people our age anymore. I mean, we caused a Holocaust there, and it was just by a feeding frenzy because all the police became the Zetas. You find a Zeta and you pay for it to them to ship it over the border, and they're handing it to they're just when you're only making $30,000 a year, $35,000 a year, to make $1,000 a night for someone to hand you $1,000 for you to open a gate and let somebody drive off, and you don't have to do any work. You just let one truck get on interstate with thousands of other trucks. I've been down there. There's only 3 roads that come out of South Mexico, but they're making it right on the other side of the fence. They have bathtubs and these big tubs right on the other side of the fence. They're literally making it and tossing bags over or backing huge dump trucks up. But it was the lack of stopping people there. Because the people who are fleeing here, and I've known some of them, now there's what's called a perfect example called the Knights of Columbus. I mean, not the Knights of Columbus, that's a thing here. The Knights Templar. The Knights Templar are not like the Sinaloa cartel. They are a kidnapping-based cartel. So they wait for tourists to come in, because when I took people like me and Deanna went down to Playa del Carmen and Tulum, and she was all nervous because there's these people with machine guns and within their hands a black mask on. I said, "You see that guy with the machine gun right there smoking a joint? That guy is there to make sure you don't die, because if you die, he's here against all those people behind him, because if one of us gets hurt, only 45 minutes, like, 30 miles, like 50 kilometers from Cancun, from Tulum, Playa del Carmen, Cozumel, all the tourism goes back to Cancun. And Cancun is just like Florida. It's like Panama City. It really is. It's like you haven't been to Mexico until you get out in what's called the country. Go to a resort that's out in the country. I went to the Grand Zacret Occidental. Look it up. Go to Google 360cities.com. Grand Zacret. It's XCARET. X. It's like X, like a cigarette. Grand Zacret. XCARET. The Grand Zacret Occidental. It'll finish it for you. But it has one of those things you can look around, and it's just an amazing place. That's that picture where I have the monkey on my head that Gary turned into me making the pyramids explode or get struck by lightning. But hopefully I'll be on another one of those shows soon. But the new discoveries down at the interferometer and all that, it's they're huge discoveries. There's some things that you've got to separate and put in the news first, because people aren't understanding. They're like, "Oh, Trump hates people in Mexico." There's a whole generation where from 20 years old to 50, there's no men. Everybody there is a teenager or an old man. And it's because everybody our age is dead. And then somebody comes and replaces them. And then they're gone. And it's just this vicious cycle. And they call it the meat grinder. It's like the people, as they come from the south, they go up north trying to make money. And, their life expectancy is like 20 months or something. And, but it's the American drugs, but see, everybody else gets their drugs from us, and that's where it's coming from, is from below Mexico, and but people don't hear those facts. They just hear, oh, he's racist or whatever. Mexico is telling everybody, the people in Mexico are saying, we don't want people crossing our border. Please put more people down there. I want my kid to be safe. I don't want to have to come up with, 50,000 American dollars that I won't make in a lifetime to get my own child back, because now they're kidnapping Mexicans because there aren't Americans and Europeans going down there. And that's what I was doing for a while, was taking people down there on tour safely and make it back. You'd be surprised just how knowing how to speak Spanish and knowing the people around you keeps you safe. Make sure you're worth more to them alive than gone. But yeah, my main thing is I'm not left or right. I just say, like Clyde Lewis, I'm a third rail thinker. Just think about what makes sense and go with that. And like Kathleen Fitzgerald says, kill your TV. Just look at the data. And if you want to know what the Mexicans think, ask one. Ask somebody. They're very easy to talk to, and they're everywhere. And it's the ones that are here. They don't want more people here, and most of the people that are crossing the border are not Mexicans. Most of the people who are crossing the borders are from Honduras and Nicaragua and Guatemala and all these other places, and they're kidnapping kids. And a perfect example, they show these kids down in a kid down in the river and somebody else face down in the river. Well, they don't tell you 313 people died in the river this year, but there was never one single year in the before this regime, the post regimes from Clinton all the way back to the first George Bush, there was never a year where less than 400 people died in 1 year in the river. And this is the first year where it's been in the 300s. So all those facts are very skewed. Hey, there's Josh. I've been talking about the drones that were over our head. I was talking to my dad. He told me that one, it shows whether it's the front or the back, because all airplanes are lit up with white strobes and red strobes. And but seeing those red dots and blue dots sitting still, I've been thinking about it ever since then. Hey, and Josh, you see JoJo Melton said, "What's up?" We're all from Shreveport, grew up together. Yeah, me and Josh were bartenders together, sitting there at Worcester House, one of Eddie Van Halen's spots. He always got the French dip with au jus sauce and strawberry daiquiri and Valerie Bertinelli. Yeah, I was like, I got to wait on them. That was a pretty cool deal. But, yeah. But if you want anything to do with the new stuff, I'm about to get some dates from Daryl. And if you have any ideas, I'm always open. And if you have any problems working any of the satellite stuff, or you want to get on to some of the satellite stuff and you can't find the dashboard, then just shoot me a message. I might not get it back right then, but the second that I open my eyes, even if it's 3 o'clock in the morning, I always answer. So, hey, and go check out, if you want to see the coolest stuff, it doesn't matter where you're from. Now he's been going all over the place. I keep telling him he needs to go shoot Angkor Wat, Giza, and all those places, because now, like I said at the beginning of the video, it's just simply not made of limestone. The Sphinx is made of limestone, carved in place, has 100,000 years worth of weathering on it. Very simple. Pyramid, not made of limestone, not the same color, 0 weathering. Very simple. It's made of 10% sodium carbonate, 30% water, so that's 40% of it, and 60% sand. And we know from every beach that water and sand don't stick together. Hi, JoJo, you know how I am. Bookworm in disguise. Anyway, yeah, working that metallurgy job, you would have had to have been a football player, fully trained 2-a-days or MMA training in order to do it, because you're doing chemistry except for what you're adding to the 3,500 pound mixture is 21 pounds of palladium and 26 pounds of vanadium and 7 stars of aluminum and 2.5 ounces of graphite, so it's you end up losing some weight, but burning about 5 gallons of water a day. I guarantee you I drink 5 gallons of water a day. But yeah, and go look at JB Photography. JB's not me, that's Joshua Britton, but he's got some stuff. But I'm telling you, he is the 21st century Norman Rockwell. I'm telling you, and it's not just because he's my friend. I'm telling you, he's like the best contrast I've seen in any pictures. So it's not like he's taking the pictures and just, adding whatever color to it and doing whatever. He, across the spectrum, does all kind of stuff. Everything from vaping stuff to nature scenes to, pictures of trains that just, it looks like a Norman Rockwell type thing, but with a new dimension to it. But it kind of has that Louisiana jazzy, the blues kind of look to it, even though it's a picture of a parking lot. But go check out JB Photography Art LLC on Facebook. If you can't find it, the link's on the wall. And yeah, Kickbox Life 100. Hey, you know what's right outside my door, and it says Everlast on it, and it's got a chain on the top of it, and it's got toe straps on the bottom of it to hold it in place. We don't want to knee it around the corner. Yeah, I like knees and elbows. But yeah, JoJo, we grew up together too, and but hey, I'm glad you guys tuned in, and do me a favor. This is the way we get to everybody in Global Enlightenment Radio Network. Hey, Tracy, and just share to one group, and just after a couple, we're at 1 million people. The last one had 2,000 views on one, just on our page, and then it had by the first hour, 47 shares. You're reaching huge numbers of people then. But check it out, the Global Enlightenment Radio Network. Right now, it's me, Dr. J, Andy Elias, the Mars Revelation Show with Gary Legier, Encounters with the Neelys, that's Daryl and Katie. And if you want to help me do the news, or do news clips during the week, or record some little spots, I need somebody to help me with audio video editing too. If there's anybody out there who has a good program, because everybody keeps telling me how easy it is, but I've just got so much clutter in my head right now. My homework is piled up to the ceiling. So if anybody is good in that area, I have Joe Benner. Joe Benner, we did a show, but I have it on MP3. And if somebody will just put any slide over it, it'll be an MP4, and it'll be ready to upload to Facebook. But it's just sitting there, and I haven't had the time to get to it. And I've also been recovering from DARPA Town, too. So I've been in and out of the hospital and the doctors and stuff like that. But hey, go check out Global Enlightenment Radio Network /shows, and you'll see the Research Society. We're already on there. He's giving me some time to recover. And go check out JB Photography Art. Just no spaces. JB Photography Art LLC. And GERN. Yeah, that's on. No, that's GERN. It's on Facebook also. It's Kristen Schultz. But Global Enlightenment Radio Network.com. That's the spot on the internet. And then there is a Facebook page that was just made for it. And if you'd like to be a guest on the show, out of our 2,800 people, we've probably got 400 or 500 authors, freelance writers, radio hosts, all kind of stuff. So if you want to be a guest, or if you have a book you want to promote, or if you have an event you want to promote, or anything like that, just get in touch with me. Or if you want to do a co-host thing or do the news thing, that'll help me greatly. And I'm looking for somebody to help me with the editing too. I know Josh is so busy, he doesn't have time to do all that either. But Odin, he's got to produce every show on the network and his own. So I'm trying to learn by myself doing it, but I'm having to learn LiDAR and I'm having to learn all this other stuff in chemistry at the same time. But hey, we're changing things. But look, just share this to one group, get the word out there. You're welcome, Joseph. Thank you guys for being on. It makes me feel so much better seeing Josh Britton down there and seeing Joseph and Kristen and Shelly and Rebecca and everybody here. And hopefully, maybe this weekend, you might see me and Kathleen on the conversation show. And we're going to get the news thing together, too. This is going to be the first network of its kind, an actual network. You know, so people know that they can sit down at a certain time and they're going to hear the news, and it's not going to be about one specific subject. But this is the biggest time of discovery in the history of humanity, and the only thing that we hear about is Russian collusion and just this BS. It's like the who dealt it game. It's like every time somebody breaks the law, they point the finger at somebody else. I'm like, man, everybody keep watching the dancing monkey, because I'm over here discovering all this stuff, and people are like, how could he have possibly discovered that? I'm like, because nobody else is looking. Nobody else is thinking about it. But look, I love you guys, and I've got my PayPal pool open, and I hate even putting the thing up. That's why I don't share it. But Kristen, thank you for helping me, and that actually helped me go get my medicine. I don't have any financial aid at all, any type of anything like that. So a double thank you for the double blessing, and Clyde Crisp and all of you. Thank you very much. Hey, there's Freya. There's my producer, Katie Kamara. Global Enlightenment Radio Network.com, and there is a page on Facebook now. But anyway, I love you guys, and I will see you shortly. Peace out. Amor, luz y paz.